Boom shakalaka! Welcome to another Sasha Day Game podcast. I would like to bring into the studio a very special guest, Mr. Sleeve Pavlina.
And try again.
All right, I'll go with your real name. It's Mr. Steve Pavlina. He is a speaker at the Direct Dating Summit, but I suppose more importantly, and for much longer, he's been a self-help blogger and entrepreneur. And he's huge on the internet. I like to joke about me being internet famous. In fact, I was recognized earlier today. But that's
because you're wearing the hat, right?
Mainly, I was wearing the silly hat. We'll talk about it later. But he's really internet famous. He's basically awesome because I know him and he's awesome. But also because he really does his own thing. Like when I think of people who just do what the fuck they want with their lives and they just don't give a fuck about what people think or like buy into what's normal or what you're supposed to do, not supposed to do. He really knows what he wants. He does what he wants to, and he's got an awesome lifestyle where he travels around and just has a blast. But he also is helping people. So anybody who makes dedicates their life to helping other people and can make money at it, I'd say they're kicking ass. So hello, Steve.
Hello, Sasha. And hello to all your listeners.
That's right. Hey guys. I'm in Vegas right now, and I guess it's 2 weeks ago now. I went to your event. Steve invited me as a guest to come hang out at one of his live workshops here in Vegas, and you do like 1 or 2 a year, something like that. Whenever you feel like.
It depends. This was the 11th one I've done.
Okay. So he does them once in a while, and it was really cool because I've gone to stuff before. But this was the first time where it was something where it's like just totally open. It was like, it's self-development. We're open-minded. It's going to be interactive. Just show up and it's going to be awesome. And, you work with everybody. And I went there and it was just so awesome. Like, it was so much fun. I learned lots of stuff. The people were great. And even my picky, pain-in-the-ass wife, who was like, yeah, I like it. No, these people are assholes. She loved everybody there. And it was really great. And I was just blown away by the fact that if you get a bunch of people together who are in the right space, right, and they're all sort of on the same frequency, how much the group itself can lead, what's going to happen and how great it can be, how effective and impactful it can be, even though there's no programming, there's no plan, there's no nothing. It's literally just you and a bunch of people who like what you do in a room, and that's it. And that's magical in a way.
It was really cool to see that. When I did my first workshop in 2009, I thought of transformation as being content-based. Like I'm the presenter and I have to share the content. And it's the ideas and the exercises that I have people do that will help transform them, and they'll have the growth breakthroughs they're looking for, hopefully. And I realized that wasn't the case at all. I mean, yes, the content helps. It's a part of it. But it's almost like it's an excuse for us to get together. It's what attracts people to it. But what transforms them even more than the content is just a chance to hang out in a room with lots of growth-oriented people, all the social interactions. I'd say that is at least half of the transformational effect, just being around those kinds of people, especially for people who are, reading the work online and they don't have a lot of friends in the field. They don't have a lot of people in their lives that are into personal growth. You put them in a room with, 30, 50, 100 people who are all into personal growth, all like-minded, all wanting to create some kind of breakthrough, and it's just magical what kinds of things happen. And people create amazing bonds there too. People who are have gone to these workshops years ago, they're still friends, even if they live in different cities, different countries. They find reasons to go together, travel together, hang out together. It's like you end up being part of a network that just all stays connected, and people just encourage the heck out of each other. They're always checking up on each other, holding each other accountable for growth experiences. And I find that the transformational effect continues long after one of these events. It's not really something I do to people. The way I see myself is more of being a facilitator, just creating the excuse for everybody to come together.
And that almost sounds dodgy somehow.
In a way.
I'm a facilitator. It's like almost like there's a dude wearing a black jacket in an alley somewhere. I'm a facilitator. What's this guy doing exactly? What? It seems dodgy. But no, it's super. It's weird. It really inspired me to now, like, instead of doing an event where I'm going to teach you this and this, I'm just like, nope. The events I'm doing this year, I've got a couple of them in. I just sold a my first sort of high-priced ticket when I literally just put it up on the website, where I'm literally like, just like, here are the potential topics, here's the stuff I'm interested in, there's no plan, show up, I'm going to ask you guys what you want to learn, and we're all going to do it together. And that's so liberating, because now it's like there's no preparation for me, right? Because normally they're like, oh, okay, I've said this stuff before, I got to work on new material and new exercises. No, I don't have to do shit. I just have to be healthy and well-slept, show up in a good mood, and that's it. And just let rock and roll.
Yeah, it took me a good several years to learn that, because when I did my first workshop in 2009, it took me 30 days to plan 3 days of content and exercises. And it was based on my book that I'd already written and already had published a couple years earlier. So it was crazy just how much effort went into it. 30 days really working full time on that. And then eventually I got it down to like 2 weeks to plan one, and then down to a week. And then I got it down to about 3 or 4 days. And at that point, you're thinking in bigger chunks, like, okay, I'm going to do like this 15-minute segment here and 30 minutes we'll spend on this and so on. So it's much easier to do it. And then I got to another point, like, why plan any of it? Because I got more and more comfortable speaking off the cuff and going with the flow. And then the last workshop, I didn't even spend 1 minute on it, on planning.
Yeah. And don't take this the wrong way, but it was obvious. I jest. But no, but it's interesting, because when you do so many events and talk about so many topics, and you just become sort of an expert on so much stuff, and not to sound cocky, but we're both in the same room. Like, we've been doing this stuff for so long. We could, there's no limit to how much we could fucking talk about whatever. And so when you add in, the experience and the knowledge, you just have that confidence. Like, I know I can walk into a room for 2 days and do a bunch of stuff, and it's going to be fucking awesome. I just, that's just the reality.
Yeah, you spent years preparing to get to that point.
Preparation has been, like for you, like writing up how many thousands of articles, and for me, talking to how many thousands of women, and coaching how many students, and reading how many books, and doing my own personal growth. I mean, it's just, it's been a long time. So it's very fascinating, and I just want to say your point, and just to anyone out there who's ever considered going to something, and for what made up whatever reason not to, fucking go to these things, whatever it is you're thinking about, go and do it. Because I never realized this till relatively recently, because I when I'm talking to people, the clues were there, but I never really realized the power of just going to something just because of the people that are there. Because students for years and years and years, like, they kept saying, oh yeah, I want to do your course, but actually I just want to meet more people who are doing it. So more and more people, it's like, yeah, they want to learn what I'm teaching, but also they just want to meet other people who are into self-improvement / meeting women / self-love, all this kind of stuff. So same thing with my direct dating summit events. It's the people. You're in a room suddenly with like 40 or 50 dudes, all who want to get better and get in shape and eat healthier and meet women and get a beautiful girlfriend. So you're meeting all these guys who want to go out there and do stuff, rather than like your normal friends who are just like, yeah, I'm just going to watch a movie and then like just hang out and then do that maybe again next week, and that's it. Just these boring fuckers who just they're not doing anything. So it's the impact of just being around those people, and the energy and the motivation you get from other people who are taking charge of their fucking lives is, you can't even how do you even put a value or a price on it? It's just priceless. It's amazing.
Seeing people living by example is really powerful too. I got a lot of good feedback from people who went to the workshop saying that they really liked that you were there and what you shared about the way you live your lifestyle, because that was another positive model for them to see. I find it especially interesting how when people get started in like dating and pickup and connecting, they often start with an approach that's really similar to how people get started in public speaking, where they have to memorize openers and have all this stuff in their minds planned out mentally, what they're going to do and what they're going to say. A common question people ask is like, what do I say when I walk up to a woman? Like, what should be the first thing out of my mouth? And then if she says this, then what do I do? And it's very similar to when I started in public speaking. I would take like a day or two just to prepare a 7-minute speech. Maybe like a day to write it and edit it, and another day to memorize it word for word, and including, how I would do every gesture and so on. So then I could present it exactly as I practiced it. But what you're not doing there is you're not listening. You're not listening to the audience. You're not responding. And when you practice enough, I think that is a helpful stage to move through, but you want to get past that after a while. Because I find that the speakers who stick with that approach, they end up being like these stage mannequins where they're giving the same presentation the same way regardless of the audience. And so they're not really listening and responding to the audience that's right in front of them. They're not connecting with the people who are there in the room. They might as well just be doing a video and playing it for people. Yeah. It's like they're not really present.
Dude, it's exactly the same for stand-up comedy. You get these comics, they're doing the same fucking jokes. I mean, literally, I started doing comedy in 1997. I would see people's routines in 2006-7, I'm seeing these guys. They're doing the same fucking jokes. Are you serious? So after a while, you realize, like once you get that confidence and you kind of can do your jokes and whatever, you realize that when you're going up on stage, you want to have an idea. So it's like if you have everything structured like a Nazi, you're exactly what you said. You're not reading the audience, but to know, okay, I'm going to start off with this because this will work. I'm going to make fun in the first joke, and I always talk about this when people ask me how do I do comedy or whatever. Same thing with meeting girls. You want to make a strong first impression. So if you have one joke that you know is going to do really well, that should be your first joke. And if there's some obvious thing happening in the room, like there's a funny smell or there's one person doing something stupid or something obvious, you connect with the audience in the moment because of that thing that everybody is aware of. Then you do your best joke, and for the rest of it, God, you could do whatever. You could do your other jokes, or you could fuck around or go in the moment and do whatever. Because you're present, you've already connected with the audience, and that's the most important thing. And so it's exactly the same with public speaking, comedy, making an impression with a woman. If you're present in the moment and you walk up to her and you're really right there with her and you just say, listen, you look amazing and your dress is unbelievable and I just have to come say hi. If you're really, really present in that moment and she loves it and she laughs, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you came to talk to me. Because you were present and you showed her that and you made that powerful impression, you're probably going to be fine. You see, so it's all about, but to get to that level of just being okay with yourself, to just be like, fuck it, I'm going to go in the moment and I'm going to say what's on my mind and I'm okay with whatever happens. That's the development. That's the self-improvement part that you need to get to. Mm-hmm. But guys are always looking for a shortcut. What's the magical line? There is no fucking line. Mm-hmm. Be awesome. that's the line.
I'd say if there is a shortcut, it's just putting in the time. Like whether it's stand up, get on the stage, or public speaking, or talking to women. Put in the time and do it. And even if you're going to be awkward at first, even if you're doing memorized routines at first, just get through it and get as much stage time as possible. My friend Darren LaCroix started in stand-up comedy, and he got into public speaking afterwards, and he showed a video of his first stand-up routine. It was absolutely awful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he was doing an open mic night or something, he just got up on the stage and basically read from notes, and nothing he said was even remotely funny. And then, years later, he's winning he won the 2001 World Championship of Public Speaking in Toastmasters. Speaking to an audience of probably 2,000, 2,500 people, and just, really funny talk, really amazing, skills and presentation that he was able to do. And his 3 rules for public speaking, he says the 3 most important things to get good at public speaking are stage time, and stage time. Mm-hmm. And he was mentored by a guy named Vinny Favorito, who actually performs a show at the Flamingo right over there, which I can see right out the window from our suite. Mm-hmm. Vinny is just like this incredibly crazy comedian who does these just insane shows where he goes into each show just picking on people from the audience and talking to the audience, and he basically creates an act from who's in the audience. Mm-hmm. And just responding to people. So it's all about like listening and responding. And when he was mentoring Darren, he told Darren, he says, if you ever turn down stage time, I will stop mentoring you. So Darren would have to do things like drive 90 minutes to do a 5-minute open mic night someplace because it was available.
Right.
But he put in so many hours and hours and hours of stage time, and eventually you get to the point where you're very comfortable on a stage. And that's kind of an approach I used just to get comfortable doing workshops, doing public speaking. I used to be definitely afraid of it, and we get very, very nervous. But you spend enough time up in front of an audience, and you realize it's actually a safe place. People see it as a threat. It's actually people's number one fear. I think I read a study that about 25% of Americans have public speaking as their number one fear, and it's not actually dangerous.
Yeah, it's not crazy.
So they're more afraid of that than just about anything else, and it's odd because it's just like going up and talking to women. Generally speaking, it's not actually dangerous for the most part. Maybe the way you do it can occasionally be. but it's not, you're not really in physical danger. It's not a fight or flight response appropriate situation.
Right.
But yet you'll still feel that triggered. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And then you can actually do it where I think the goal is really to get to the point where you can be fully yourself, and just as if you're comfortable in your own space at home or talking to a close friend that you've had for years. That level of comfort is what you want to be able to have in different environments. And when you can reach that level of comfort, Now you can do things like listening and responding in ways you never could before, and you're not
That's
stuck
right.
in your head, and you're more just in your heart space and having fun and enjoying yourself. You're less attached to outcomes too. You're not afraid of failure, because if a failure happens, you just keep right on going. It's just like if you failed making dinner in your kitchen, you go, oh well, and you just start again. It's not a big deal.
It's one of those things that's hard to put a finger on, but in comedy, sometimes, it's the comedians that can go up on that stage and they're so confident they can just, because they own it, they've done it so much. You just walk up on that stage and they'll just be like, hey, and they'll just be like, how's it going? And they'll just fucking say one funny thing or here and there, and just the audience just knows they're in the presence of a master. And it's like they don't even have to try. And it's almost like if you're not one of those, you're just looking at it, it's like, how the fuck is this guy doing this? But again, it's years and years and years and years of just doing it. And then you get to a point where you're going up there to have fun. You're literally going up there to have a good time, not to be funny or to for anything. So, and again, the parallels between comedy and seduction are unparalleled. Same thing with a woman. You walk up, she knows you're just having a good time, dicking around. You don't give a fuck. You don't want anything. That's it. That's all there is to it.
What mistake people make in the beginning, I see a lot, and I'm sure it's true in stand-up comedy, it's true in public speaking, and I know it's true in approaching people and talking to them, is that they're so worried about encountering a situation where they get some kind of negative feedback, a rejection or any kind of negative feedback whatsoever, because they feel like if that happens, they can't handle it. And so their approach is to try to avoid that at all costs, prevent rejection no matter what, prevent failure no matter what, prevent stumbling no matter what. And that creates a lot of tension, because that's not entirely under your control to be able to prevent that sort of thing. And instead, if you can get to the point where that can happen and you're still okay with who you are, with yourself, and you just keep going through it and even have fun with it, turn it into a gift, then that's even better. I remember when I would get started in public speaking, and I would just be very nervous, like what if somebody in the audience says something or does something, or what if I get heckled and I don't know what to do, or don't know how to respond to it, what if something happens? And then you get enough experience where stuff happens and you respond to it, and you learn to even be more playful with it, and then you even welcome it. Like you want something to happen to make it more challenging. Otherwise, you can actually be doing public speaking, or I imagine you can be doing stand-up or approaches on the street and be bored because it's not stimulating enough for you anymore. I remember one time a few years ago, one woman from my audience got a little frustrated with me, and she stood up and said, "Fuck you, Steve Pavlina," right, during the middle of one of the workshops. And I just smiled at her and bowed. And it was just like, the audience just laughed. They loved it. And then I find that, though, you may find this too, I'll bet, is like the further you go along this path, the stuff that used to scare you at one point or make you nervous or hesitant can actually bore you after a while. Like it's no longer stimulating enough. Like you develop a tolerance for it. And then you actually have to increase the stimulation factor to keep it interesting and engaging for you. You ever have that with like any kind of stand-up or approaches or anything like that?
With approaches, absolutely. With stand-up, it's always different because there's always shit going on. Like there's always people are yelling at you or whatever. But with pickup, I did so many approaches. It just got boring doing random approaches for girls, because I know X amount of girls out of 10 I speak to are going to give me their number, and a certain percentage of those I'm going to be able to sleep with. So after a while, it's fucking boring. And that's why for me, I always just had fun with it. I would just always come up and do ridiculous things and say silly shit, because for me it was a game. I was going out there having a blast, and once in a while I'd meet a girl and get laid, because that was more interesting. It really was. Because after a while, of course, everything gets repetitive. Yeah. But then again, before you get to the repetitive part, hopefully mastery sets in. Like you have to do something if you're afraid of it, you got to do it a long time before you get really fucking good, and then it starts to get boring, and then you move on to something else in life. But here's the thing, this brings back to what you were talking about before, putting in those hours to get really fucking good and push through something. I believe everybody in life has to find something that they fucking love doing, where it's not a chore putting in the time, where they're doing it because they fucking love it, and as a consequence they're going to get really good, and then as a consequence of that they're going to start making money, and as a consequence of that they can get the lifestyle that's closer to their ideal one, because they don't have to do some shitty job they don't want to, and it all comes down to putting in the fucking hours. It's really that simple. So people are always looking for some, like, oh wow, how are these people doing it? Well, every single person out there who's an entrepreneur or they're living their own life by their own rules, it always came down to one thing: They found something they fucking loved, and they committed to it, and they put the fucking hours, and that's it. That's really what it comes down to. Obviously, don't pick something that you could never make money at, but you can make money at almost anything if you get really fucking good at it.
I think it's important not just to look forward to the end result, but also to fall in love with the grind.
That's right.
The grinding out process of whatever you have to do. And for me, one thing that really inspired me was taking a fear and facing it, like getting to the point where I could keep leaning into something that I was previously afraid to do, like public speaking, and you start small. You take little baby steps. Things that I would have thought were just unfathomable, like goals I never would even have set, 10 years ago or so when I started on this path. Now today they're easy. It's like not even a big deal. Like, when I started on it, doing 3 days of extemporaneous speaking would have been insane. It would have been terrifying. Like, there's no way I could do that. I wouldn't even feel comfortable doing a 5 minutes, speech off the cuff, let alone 3 days straight. But then you keep going with it and going with it and going with it, and then that actually becomes easy, and it's not even a challenge, anymore. That's something that I love. Is like developing that skill and following a path where you can see yourself getting better year after year after year, and the fear diminishes over time. It's kind of cool thinking, like, I used to be afraid of doing this kind of stuff, and now there's just no fear there. I can't even access it. I can't get myself to feel nervous.
I'm actually wondering, like, do we have obsessive personality? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is that necessary to get to mastery? Because when, like, for example, when I did stand-up comedy, I just really, like, I just realized this now. But when I was doing comedy, dude, I started when I was 17. I would do anything to get on stage. I literally, I was in LA one time, and I walked in, and it was just, some magazine said that there was a show. I go up there. One or two other comedians, maybe like two, showed up to do the show, but there wasn't one. They're like, no, that was canceled. It's just literally just a bar. There's like 5 people in the bar, including the waitress, and there's nothing. And I literally was like, no, we're doing a fucking comedy show. Do you guys mind if we just do it? And then the waitress was like, the bartender's like, yeah, I guess so. And I just went up on stage and I'm like, hey guys, we're doing the comedy. And I just started doing it. There's literally 2 people that were maybe listening and the bartender, and it was fun because I started making fun of us and how shit it was. And at one point she was ignoring me, and I say, and I just said something to her. I think I still remember this. I said to her, hey, I said, hey, you're not listening to my joke. She goes, I'm working on tips. And I said, I'm working on a career. And that was, really off the cuff, and a couple people laughed, and other comedians were like, fuck it, literally, I'm doing the show for 3 people, including the waitress, and the next comedian was like, well, fuck it, this guy got laughs, fuck it, and he went on, and so, but it was an obsession to just get on that fucking stage and make people laugh and get better no matter what, and that went on literally up until, my early 30s, but that was my whole life, and several years in, I was making a living doing stand-up comedy. And then again, when I got into pickup, I just was, it's the same thing. I just fucking forever going, but are we weird? Seriously, is it us? Because normal people, they don't do that. I mean, who does that? What percentage of people are obsessives that will actually go and fucking do this much of any one thing to get to this level? I mean, seriously, is it 3%? Is it 5%?
Probably
or
less.
is it something that you can learn to decide? You see what I'm saying? It's almost like forcing yourself to fall in love with a human. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can say, I'm going to fall in love with stand-up or public speaking or being an entrepreneur or learning how to whatever. Can that be done?
I think so.
Or are we freaks?
Or
both.
It's probably both. Probably a little bit of both. I mean, I definitely see that obsessive side in myself too, where I would give speeches for just 2 or 3 people sometimes. I remember doing a 90-minute business incubator several years ago for like 3 people, and I prepared for it a lot. And only it was some other group that was doing the event, and only 3 people showed up. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be a pretty small audience. But I remember meeting Barb DeAngelis one time at a conference that she was speaking at here in Vegas. She's a pretty popular relationship book author, and I saw her just setting up her book table by herself. So this is when I was just getting started in public speaking. So I walked up to her and just told her I was, that I liked her work, and I was just curious if she had any advice for somebody who's just getting into public speaking. And so she was happy to talk to me, and she said, basically, don't worry about the audience size. She was speaking to a group of maybe 2,000, 3,000 people at the event I was going to. But she said she started out doing like meditation workshops, and sometimes only one person would show up. And she said she would still do her best work just for that one person. So she says if you can't do a talk for one person, you're not ready to speak to 2,000. And I really took that to heart, and I realized, it's not the audience size that matters. It's about doing your best for whoever is there in the room. You transform one life. It's the same as if you're talking to a group of people. And look at it from the audience's perspective. You know, it's true with public speaking, or when you're approaching somebody on the street, or when you're doing stand-up comedy. You know, from the perspective of somebody in the audience, it's just you talking to them. You know, it's not like you're talking to the whole room. You're talking to them. They're absorbing your material. They're absorbing your connection. So are you connecting with that one person who's listening to you? And that's how I often thought about public speaking thereafter, is I'm really just talking to one person, but maybe it's multiplied by dozens or 100 or whatever. And that made me reframe how I thought about public speaking, because before that I thought of it as a presentation, and then I began thinking of it as a conversation. It's just a conversation where I switched the focus of who I'm talking to in each moment. So that made it much more relaxed for me. You know, it's the same thing. You talk to somebody you're just meeting for the first time. It's just a conversation. You're not presenting. You're not trying to impress the person. You're just creating a connection and seeing where it goes.
Yeah, I'd say for a non-seduction guru that you got some pretty good things to say. But yeah, that's awesome.
What else you got?
I got tons. It's interesting, even having this conversation is an exercise in presence, because whenever you say stuff, I always get ideas of, I could say this and this and this, but you're mid fucking thing, and I'm like, nope, those thoughts, I can just ignore them. Let's listen to where this goes, and then see whatever I want to say at the end.
Difference between listening and waiting to talk.
That's right. And so, because I'm a professional talker, basically, I'm used to talking. So it's excellent. It's excellent. Yeah, it was something that was popping in my head, and I ignored the thread.
Did you find that doing stand-up helped you with doing pickup?
Inevitably, it did, but
or was it like training different muscles?
It's fairly similar, because again, I was already used to the rejection aspect, because and I'd already been judged so much, and I've had so many gigs that I fucking failed at horrifically. I did a lot of shows on the black comedy circuit. And I would often be funnier than the black comics, because I would go up there cocky and I would make fun of black people and they would love it. But occasionally, a couple of times, it went really bad, where they're just like, we fucking hate this guy. So it's like 400 black people in the room and me, and they just want to kill him. I was like, oh fuck, that's bad. So once you've already been through that, and you're like, and you can get through it, and you're just like, fuck it, that happens sometimes, and you're okay with it. Of course that carries over into rejection happen. Girls don't like you sometimes. But I already had the quick wit, so I could come up to a girl and make jokes and immediately get a smile, and so that helped tremendously, because most guys, if you just come up and you don't know what to say and you freeze up, of course they're just going to look at you funny and they're going to walk away. But I was able to always make an impression, and I could always get a few laughs. So it of course carried over. Yeah, in fact, too much so. Where for a period there, I was just clowning around so much, where I was literally just going around cracking girls up, and not actually really working on the seduction element or the real connection element. I was basically doing stand-up comedy for like one or two girls, and they'd be like, "This guy's hilarious, yeah. Let us know if you do comedy. See ya." I was just one because I liked you. Oh fuck. See, and so then it was almost like deprogramming the be funny all the time, which was normal if you're a comic. You're always trying to be the funniest person in the room. Deprogramming that and realizing, hey, you know what? People like me anyway because I'm interesting and I'm a good person. I got a lot going on other than I'm funny. So drop the funny and actually talk to people for real. And that was a big challenge for me. Because I come from a place of no love as a childhood, and I think that part of me being a comic and getting all that laughter from the audience is me just taking in all that love and affection that I never got as a kid. And that's almost my way of like getting love, is just making people laugh. It's always been that. And so then it was separating from me the part of me that's an entertainer that just really enjoys being funny, and the part of me that's just calling out and who wants to make a connection and wants love, and keeping this, dropping the love part. So just being funny when I feel like being funny, and not being funny all the time because I want to feel love from people. So for me, that was a big challenge. And actually, Mr. Saporno, our mutual friend, helped a lot with that. He made me realize, hey, you know what, people like you anyway. You don't have to be fucking on all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So.
It's interesting. I see parallels in my own life with that too, where you develop a skill that gets you a lot of social credit, And then you realize you can exercise restraint in using that skill. You don't always have to use it. You can just sort of relax a bit and be more yourself and not feel you're trying so hard.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like the validation. It's like I'm used to getting this validation. Oh, you're so funny. It's I was getting it all the time. It's hard to turn that off. Just like guys who get obsessed with approaching girls. There's so many guys out there in the community. They get to the point where they can go up to girls and they can approach them, do all this kind of stuff. They're not really connecting. They're not really taking girls on dates. They're not sleeping with girls. They don't effectively have girls in their lives, but they're just going out there and they're talking to lots of girls because they're used to that rush of like, wow, I conquered this part of I could do this one thing, and it feels, and it's that bit of validation, like, wow, I did it. Woo, I spoke to her. I'll never see her again, but I did. So they're getting addicted to that one little piece of something that where at least they're conquering that fear. Because before, like maybe a year ago, before they got into it, they could never walk up to an attractive woman and even say boo, but now they are. So it's like, okay, get over that now. Great, you can do that now. Okay, now stop being stupid. Stop showing off. Connect more, listen more, be present. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many more levels in the development of going from average frustrated chump, as we like to call him, to a player, or to a guy who can connect with women on a sexual level. Just like in self-development, imagine the development from the first time you thought, hey, I could maybe work on myself, up till now. It's like how much has happened. It's just it's a really big journey.
One parallel there too is when you, let's say you're going on a path of learning public speaking and you get good at it, you can reach the point where you can speak very competently and confidently in front of an audience, but you're not really enjoying the speaking anymore. One of the problems is that you're speaking about material that doesn't inspire you, or you're speaking to audiences that you just don't feel very connected with. And so the challenge then is to find out, okay, what kind of speaking, what kind of audiences really inspires me to connect with. And I see this a lot in people who email me with questions about dating too. Some of them have gone the seduction route. They've gotten really good at it. They can go on the street, pick up some woman on the street or at a coffee shop or whatever, or a nightclub, take her home, have sex all they want, but they don't really feel much of a deep connection. Constantly hearing from these people where their longest relationship is just a couple weeks. And they feel like, okay, I've developed this skill, but it's not really giving me what I want. Like they feel they've developed some kind of power that they didn't have before, and they feel like it should be able to give them more than what they're getting out of it. And the way I had to resolve that is like I could see myself going down different paths of speaking to different groups, and I saw a lot of my friends getting into doing corporate speaking, and that was like a default for a lot of speakers because corporations often put on lots of events, and you can always get work in that field. And that's when I was meeting friends like who were just like at the low level. They would be making $2,500, $3,500 for a single 45-minute talk, and I thought, okay, well that sounds like pretty good pay for that type of stuff. But they weren't really enjoying the work. They didn't like speaking to corporate audiences. It was boring. It was stiff. They couldn't really be fully themselves. And I thought, I don't really want to do that kind of speaking. I don't want to speak for corporations. I thought I want to speak to people that I really connect with, that are into personal growth, that we have a lot of things in common. And as you and Isabel noted, like the people that come to my workshops, they're really awesome people. Like I love connecting with those people. That's my favorite type of audience to speak to. But it was very deliberate attracting those types of people to be in the room, to be in the audience. The way I promote the events, the way I sell the events. When I speak to other groups, I often notice it's a very different vibe, and so I see the same pattern when people go out and connect with women. If they're basing the initial connection on just the most basic information they have about her, like what she looks like, or the context in which they're meeting her, say at a nightclub or a coffee shop or out on the street somewhere, they don't know that much about her, and it's hard to filter for compatibility in that situation. So you may end up creating a connection, but it's probably not the best connection because you're not necessarily going to meet the best matches for you. Just like if you're a speaker and you speak to some random audience, the chance of your material really landing deeply with them is slim to none. But if you can filter for a better audience, or if you can filter for a better person to connect with where you have a lot of compatibility, then you can bypass a whole lot of the early connection phases and just go right into it. Like, I don't have to do warming up so much with my audience. I just go right into the deepest material right away. They're already warmed up. The people that show up, I greet them with hugs. I don't shake their hands when they get there. I hug everybody. And because I want to connect with people where I can do that with. And if somebody doesn't like hugging, they're probably not going to want to go to one of my events.
They're definitely not going to go to one of your events.
Because you'll get 100 hugs easily that weekend, just with all the exercises we do and things like that, and the people you connect with. So, and I just became that kind of person where I liked doing that sort of thing. And, I thought, why not? If I like hugs, why don't I just have that kind of thing happen at my events and attract those kinds of people? Because you create your own rules. You can, do whatever you want. One time I did a workshop that overlapped Halloween, so I invited everybody to wear costumes. And so and I did it dressed as a Jedi Knight with a lightsaber and everything. And it was so much fun. And I thought, hey, you set the rules of your life, so do the event or do the experience the way you want. With women in particular, I learned a lot of lessons there. I learned that, approaching women on the street is not for me because I have such eclectic tastes in women that the chance of me meeting a woman that I'm really compatible with on the street is just slim to none. I'm just going to meet so many weak matches, partial matches, and I'm going to get really frustrated. And I'm going to start hating women in general because I'm just going to think they're all just not right for me. But if I can filter for the types of women that I really like, then I skip all that. I don't do dating. I don't do phone numbers or anything like that. I just say, hey, let's cuddle together. And it's great because when I'm connecting with a woman who likes the kind of things that I do, we just like she'll show up at my house or something and we cuddle together right away. That's how we start connecting.
That's right. Instant cuddling.
Instant cuddling.
With Steve Pavlina.
And, because I like cuddling, and so I filter for women who like cuddling too. And I also filter for women who want to connect with a guy in that way right off the bat. They want to go fast. I don't want to go do the, let's go out to dinner and movie kind of thing. I'll date somebody after I've had a good connection with her. Like after we like each other. But I don't want to use that as a get-to-know-you thing.
Dude, you were such a pickup artist. It's not even funny. You're doing all the stuff they do. Yeah, I like to move quick. I get him. I connect with him immediately. I get physical right away with the hugging, and then I know that it's a green light, and then I'm pumping him in the mouth 15 minutes later. No.
It's cuddle game.
Yeah. I realize for you, sex isn't the immediate end goal. But, no, that's awesome. That's one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about. And I'm glad you naturally got into it. Because that really resonated with me during DDS Direct Dating Summit in Berlin. You were talking about that, exactly this, the fact that, what kind of, well, specifically you were talking about when you're very clear about who you are, and you're just like super clear, like this is exactly who I am, this is exactly what I want, and I think we were even talking about dating profiles, like being super, super, super picky. When you find that person who exactly connects with that, they're going to be so attracted to you because they're going to be like, holy shit, this person, in your example was like vegan and likes hugging and like all this other stuff. They have to message you. They're going to be like, are you fucking serious? Someone like this exists? I got to meet this dude. And that's essentially what's happening because you were so specific. While other guys are doing the opposite. They're trying to water down. You know what I'm saying? What because they don't want to. So again, they're walking up to work who's beautiful, and they'll pretend that she smokes. I don't like that, but it's okay. She's hot and she seems like not really my type. But fucking just look at her tits. So they'll literally go out of their way to not reject her because they want to get in her pants, which is the worst thing you can do. Yep. Why are you doing this? I want to punch these guys in the face.
I see a woman light up a cigarette. I don't even want to talk to her. Dude, she's out. She's gone. So done.
Out. Yeah.
I see a woman eat meat and it immediately downgrades. Like at maximum on a scale of 1 to 10, she's probably down to a 3 now for me. So like she's probably not going to get higher up on my scale than a 3.
I don't have to worry about you sleeping with my woman. That's for sure.
So it's like I've been vegan for 18 years, so that's a big part of my lifestyle. But so I know that most women are not going to want me for who I am. And so I have the option of, okay, I can pretend to be more average, more normal, more like other people. But then we're never going to have a really great connection because I'm always going to be pretending around her and she's never going to want me for me. So instead I asked, okay, what woman out there would really want me for me? Okay, so first off, I can eliminate certain things. I'm not a bodybuilder, so if she wants a bodybuilder type, that's not me. So, it's got to be a woman who can enjoy my personality. I like to be playful. I like to be teasing. I'm super affectionate with women, so she's got to love cuddling, being kissed a lot. I want women who have no resistance to affection whatsoever. If she has a problem being touched a lot, like walk up behind her, play with her breasts, whatever, in my kitchen, then she should not come over to my house. If she loves being touched, if she loves like playful affection because she likes that kind of thing, then I'll be a great fit for her. If she's really into animal rights and she thinks that animals are living beings and they shouldn't be turned into products, beautiful. We're going to probably connect really well over that because we'll have a nice, strong alignment in values. Like a few weeks ago, I was out with a couple women and, we're walking down the street and there's like bugs, walking around the sidewalk and we're being careful not to step on the bugs. I'm thinking, these are women I want to connect with, and, that they value life that much. They won't step on a cricket if they see it on the sidewalk. And they'll even point out, there's one over there, be careful to avoid it. And I thought, lights up my heart to connect with that kind of woman. Now, some women will hear that and go, they'll roll their eyes. And I'll be like, great, I'm rolling my eyes back at you too. Let's not bother to connect. We will waste each other's time. And I don't want to waste a woman's time. I think that's actually being more respectful of a woman, that I can put out who I am, and she can look at me and roll her eyes in disgust immediately and not even need to talk to me. I think that is wonderful. I don't have a problem being rejected at all. I think it's better to be rejected fast. People get more frustrated when you waste their time, when you spend an hour talking to them, and then they find something that they don't like about you that's really a high incompatibility. Or they spend a month with you before they finally find that thing out about you that they don't like.
Dude, I had no idea you were such an appropriate speaker for the Direct Dating Summit.
Yeah.
You're literally just preaching direct game right here. Steve Pavlina, it.
Exactly. Be direct, very directly who you are. Make a point of turning people off fast, because if you do that, then the person who is a good match for you, they will recognize you so quickly, they will just come right up to you and say, we have to connect, and that's basically the kind of things that's been happening with me. Like a woman will come to me and say, I've been reading your website for a while, or I saw you give this talk and I love what you say and I would love to explore a connection with you. And it's really that simple. It's that conscious, it's that direct. Most of the time I meet good matches, the woman is approaching me. I'm not approaching her. And
that's baller game right there.
The reason she's approaching me, and it's not so much because of internet fame or anything like that, it's because I put out there what I like, what I'm looking for, and what I'm willing to offer, and what kind of connection she can expect with me. Also, I make a point of, I don't reject women harshly. A lot of women are actually very afraid to approach a guy because they don't want to get rejected. And so I'm not interested in rejecting anyone or making them feel bad about themselves. But I would like to have a good connection with somebody. So if I think we're not a good match, I'll just simply tell her plainly, I don't think we're really a good match for connecting with each other. And I'll wish her well. Or maybe I'll see if I can set her up with somebody I think would be a good match for her. So you can play matchmaker for other people. And, I read a book a while ago that really struck me with an interesting stat. It said 50% of our relationship connections that we'll have in life come through our networks of family, friends, and coworkers. So it's, now maybe it's a little different for people who are really into the pickup and seduction community because they're going out meeting so many people. But for most people, half our relationships we're going to have in life are going to come through our existing networks. And I thought, if that's the case, then let your network know what you're looking for and help them get what they want. Find out what your friends are looking for. So if I have a better idea of what my friends are looking for, I can actually match them up with somebody. I've done that before where I think, you two people should go talk. You're into the same stuff. You're looking for the same things. Great. And people have done that with me before. I get a referral. Like somebody tells a woman, go connect with this guy because he'll be a perfect match for you. It's really cool to see. Another thing I'll see is that when a woman is a really good match for me, it's like the connection, the way it happens, is very fault tolerant, meaning that it's almost impossible to screw it up. We will attract each other like magnets. I could say the stupidest things, make the dumbest jokes, and it will not matter. It's not that sensitive to failure because we have so many good reasons to connect. It's going to be such a good, strong connection that you don't have to worry about what line you're saying, and I find that's true, from the other side too. It's like if a woman is a really good match for me, she could say really dumb things, act really awkwardly, trip and fall. It doesn't matter because I'm going to like her for who she is. And any mistakes she makes, I'm going to be extremely forgiving because I want it to work.
Now
because I see good cause for there to be some potential there.
Dude, I'm so 100% with you. It's not even funny. Now, from a practical aspect, I can see guys thinking, okay, well, you guys are, doing your fancy internet businesses and people know you guys. So, of course, people kind of know your personality or whatever. What about for the guy who doesn't have an internet famous blog and maybe he's busy working and he doesn't really have a huge social network? How might he,
You can do it through social media. While the blog, I can definitely say it helps me. The fact that I have very specific tastes in women and very specific interests kind of works against me at the same time. Okay, just looking for a woman who's vegan, you're down to like 1 in 500.
Stupid alarm. Yeah, so just be super specific and put it out there, even if it's just on your Facebook or on a dating online profile site or anything.
Yeah, tell your friends, family, and coworkers. I know people who put up YouTube videos for what they're looking for. A while ago, I was hanging out at a coffee shop with a couple that met just from a guy being very specific and putting out there on social media what he wanted. And I think he even advertised on Craigslist for what he was looking for. And he had some bad matches initially, and then he eventually found a woman. And I could tell they were just a great couple together. They just seemed very aligned, and they were very conscious. And it's beautiful when you meet people who really attract each other strongly. The connection just seems so different than when it's kind of a shallow, I picked up somebody on the street and we're just hanging out together, and then 2 weeks later it's fizzled. If you get really clear about what you want, and you may not be clear initially, so if you're not clear, just go explore a lot and experiment until you see enough contrast in different situations, and you start zoning in on what you want. When you get that point where you're pretty clear about what you want, then just ask for it. Ask for it abundantly and liberally, and be totally shameless about what you're looking for. I can just say I absolutely love vegan women, and it's like, even if she's a vegetarian, like maybe she'll get to a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. But if I see her drinking milk or eating dairy cheese, I'm like, it's like it'd be like watching somebody smoke or inject heroin or something. It's a big turnoff to me.
Yeah.
So I just love women who love animals. Like, really, it's like beautiful connection. Even if we don't connect sexually, we'll probably be good friends, and that's fine too. I like that. But ask yourself, like, what in life do you connect most deeply with? What really lights you up inside, or what touches you? What really tears at your soul? And maybe what you'd really like to do is connect with like-minded people. People who have that same kind of feeling, that same kind of vibe, because it's really beautiful when you connect with somebody who shares some of your most deeply held, your most sacred values. Then the connection just sort of happens automatically. You don't even have to try. There's no techniques necessary. Because you have such good cause to connect. It's like it's almost like you're part of the same soul family. You're supposed to be in each other's lives. There's a reason for you to come together. You're going to encourage the heck out of each other. You're going to just resonate at a whole new level that would put any other shallower connection to shame.
Right. Yeah, dude, it's awesome. And this is why when guys go, yeah, well, I keep doing these approaches and it's not working, or I'm not meeting the right way. But I'm like, yeah. So okay, you've gotten it down. The fact that you can come up to girls and talk to them, wonderful. Now you need to go out there and find where the women that you want to meet are hanging out, right? Mm-hmm. And in this day and age, it's never been easier. If you go on like Meetup.com, you can find groups for freaking anything. People who are into energy, or into animals, or into cuddling, or into travel, or into chess, or into like fucking anything, like raccoon sex. I don't even know if that exists, but like midget raccoon sex. No, but anything at all that you're into, there's a group online right now that's doing it, and if there isn't, you can start one and get other people who are into it, and then you can connect with people. So it's like it's never been easier to go out there and find people who are into what you're into.
Yeah, create your own social circle.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I started blogging about personal growth was for social reasons. I wanted to connect with other people who are into the same thing. So, how do you become internet famous? Well, pick something you're really passionate about and write about it, or speak about it, share, podcast about it, whatever, in such a way that you draw other people to you. I mean, how are you building an audience for your podcast? You just share what you're about, and if people don't like it, well, they don't have to listen.
Then they're a bunch of fucking cockroaches.
But the ones who really resonate with what you share, who resonate with your guests, they're going to be glued to your podcast because they'll want to listen to it. And you can say the craziest things, you can offend them, you can call them names, and they won't drop you if you really are resonating with sharing things that are important to them. It's not that sensitive. Okay, maybe you'll get a couple people who will drop you for that reason, but you're not going to lose your whole audience for that. That's one of the things I discovered in blogging is that I could share the craziest things, tease people in weird ways, and people would keep saying, if you keep doing that, you're going to lose all your traffic. And usually the opposite would happen. The more authentic I was being, even if I was being extremely opinionated about something, the more people I would attract that were into what I was into. And then what happens is your audience becomes shaped more and more by who you are. And now, now that I've been blogging for 11 years, it's eerie how I keep meeting people who are ridiculously compatible with me. Like when I do speaking or do a workshop and I invite people who've been, I meet people that have been reading my work for 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and we have so much in common, it's insane. Like you just meet the person and it feels like you're best friends already.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, that's
because I've scared everyone else away.
That's right. That's right.
Everyone else who wouldn't like me for me or wouldn't resonate with my work, then they've left a long time ago.
Yeah, they erased your bookmark website from their bookmarks years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
I love when people email me and say, if you keep writing about this topic, I'm going to stop reading your blog. I'm like, good, stop reading it.
Yeah. I get the same thing because people, a lot of my people found me through my pickup videos, right? Me going around picking up chicks. And of course, through time, that got boring picking up chicks. So I'm giving, advice that's leaning more and more towards self-help and even spiritual stuff and how to make the world a better place and how to be a great human being and how to find your passion. And, it's really self-help, self-development stuff, really. This is what I'm doing at this point. Yes, I know a lot about pickup and women. That's part of it, but that's not really my focus anymore. But of course, as soon as I started kind of veering off, and it's been like, 2 months and I hadn't put up a pickup video, I'm just, if you don't put up a pickup video, I'm going to unsubscribe, or I'll put something up that's like super awesome, but it's not related to picking up chicks, and they'll just be like, I'm going to unsub, and my reply is, go ahead. Like, there's other people out there picking up chicks. If that's where you're at and that's all you want to watch, go and watch that. But if you want to see what happens after that and you want to go deeper, then feel free to join me. So. Yeah.
I'm not interested in people threatening me with stuff like that. So when they
threatening someone via YouTube.
Well, when people threaten they're going to unsubscribe, I unsubscribe them myself. I say you're off the list
you're
now.
You're off, buddy. See ya.
Because I don't want to have those annoying twerps in my audience anyway. I want to connect with people who are really cool people to have in my audience. Cool readers, cool customers. Ones who will forgive me if I'm a little over the top occasionally. And if they can't handle that, if they're real sensitive to it, or if they want to threaten me with stuff, then I really don't want them in my lives. I don't want to do business with them. I don't want to deal with them. In fact, that's one of the reasons I got rid of commenting on my blog. I've learned that like the first year I was blogging. Once it got to a crazy number of comments and all these people were just demanding things from me, I just said, screw that. I don't want to have all this crap on my website. So I just took off the comments and turned it off. And I felt much better for it.
Yeah, I like the comments though. Even though there's poopy ones, there's so many people showing so much love. And like today, I read one and some guy basically said he watched my fear versus love video, and he said he just kept watching that. He was in a big depression and he just watched that video over and over, and it fucking helped to pull out of it. And now his whole life is different. And he's just like, that was from you. And I'm just like, holy fuck, that's just made my day. So I want to get those comments. I don't want to fucking block that. But I can see where at some point you'd just be like, fuck you. You just want to turn it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
what I've done now is I've just gotten one of my guys to go through, and if anyone's just being a dick, they're just going to get nuked. And that's so it leaves all the positive people, and people are just there to fuck around, they're just going to be banned from the channel, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, with feedback, it can be a mixed bag depending on what kind of feedback you get. I like positive feedback. I get plenty by email too, so I'm fine just reading that directly. And generally, the stuff I would get by email is much more thoughtful and interesting than what people would post on a blog. And plus, I get attacked by spammers massively. Even with filtering software and stuff, it would still be kind of an issue. Now there's just all different ways of spamming blogs and stuff, and you look at people's blogs and sometimes most of the comments are just crazy spam stuff. or it's just like really low quality feedback. But
more titties.
yeah, stuff like that, or people spamming links to their own websites and things like that. But I thought about like, what kind of volume of feedback do I want? What kind of quality of feedback do I want to get? I didn't have time to read 100 comments a day. It was like up to that after a year. So I thought, yeah, I don't really need this. I don't really want it. And also, the main thing that made me turn it off is I realized less than 1% of the people going to my website were even interacting with the comments, even looking at them.
Right.
Most people were just reading the article and then leaving.
Right.
So I also thought I'm kind of wasting people's time a lot with just encouraging them to comment, and especially if I'm not even going to read most of them.
Yeah, that's interesting. It takes cojones just to turn it off too, because you might turn. Some people might be might be angry that they can't comment.
Yeah, well, also, I prefer feedback with people in person. I prefer connecting with people in person. So, like last year,
If you want to tell me I'm an asshole, you'll show up to one of my events and then tell me to my face.
Like last year, I quit social media too. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have a Twitter page. Although somebody re-registered my Twitter account, and they, after I quit it, like under the same name. So twitter.com/Steve Pavlina, but it's not my account. It's somebody put up my photo, used my URL, and they're just posting a bunch of self-help dribble pretending to be me. And I think they're up to several hundred followers again. They started from scratch because it reset the follower count to 0. But, and Twitter's been notified, and I know Twitter knows about it, but they haven't done anything about it, even though it's a violation of their policy. And it's actually illegal, too, to impersonate a real person on some other social media service, but I don't think they care. And what are you going to do?
We'll wait till they get enough where they think they're successful, then we'll shut them down. No.
Okay, sure.
Let's fuck with this guy. We could do it. You and me combined.
If they even bother. But then I get emails from people saying, I've been following your Twitter account. I'm like, no, you haven't. It's not me. Somebody else.
No, I'd be pissed if someone was doing that. I would try and shut them down.
Have you seen a dark side to internet fame?
That's a good question.
I've had people try to show up at my house before.
Oh, really?
Just like spontaneously, yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not that famous yet. Yeah, that would be creepy. That'd be really creepy.
There are some creepy things that
happen.
Like
if they show up with like cake and they're like, "Hey, we're really big fans and we brought carrot cake. We just wanted to give you this cake." You probably wouldn't be that pissed off.
Yeah, I know some bloggers who had great blogs, and a couple years into it, when they got pretty famous, they quit because it just started getting to be too much craziness, too much pressure for them. They would get death threats and things, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that happens every now and then, but what are you gonna do? Are you gonna quit, or are you gonna keep going? So,
well, this brings up a really interesting point. But just to answer the question, for me, it's pretty much been. I mean, sure, I'll get a couple of dicks on Facebook, on whatever it is. Oh, there was one guy once, actually. Now that you bring it up, there was one guy once. I won't mention. Should I mention who he was? Let's just say he was a crony for someone else who's a PUA. And basically, he was like a minion. They got these fanboys, and they'll try and get their fanboys to go do stuff. So this guy basically decided that that's it. I was a scammer. He was going to shut me down, and he just started messaging. You can't prove any of this stuff, or it's all a scam. He was trying to prove that my big video, or where I was doing all the approaches, he's going on. This is all fake. I know about camera angles. Like, it was ridiculous. The whole thing was insane, and you couldn't be reasoned with them, and we just banned them on everything, and eventually they went away. But that's pretty much it. But the good side is nice. We talked about this a couple days ago. It's nice to be internet famous because no one really bothers you, but once in a while you get recognized or people know you within that community, and then you get the love and affection, and you can connect with people, and it's awesome. But when you want to be left alone, nobody fucking bothers you. It's beautiful. Funny thing happened about an hour and a half ago at the pool. One poker player guy, recognized me and just wanted his picture taken with me. But two other people from Scotland who were a bit drunk, they saw that, and they spoke to me, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I just had a really brief chat with them. And when they left, they're like, hey, can we get a picture with you too? Even though they had no idea who I was. And it's just really funny that if you think someone is famous, you're like, oh, let me get a picture.
Did you see that YouTube video? There was a popular YouTube video a while ago about a group pretending that somebody was famous.
That's right.
And entourage.
That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Because
the person wasn't even famous, and people were wanting to get autographs and take photos.
And they're asking, like, have you listened to this? Oh yeah, I love all his songs. I can't name it, but I love this. Yeah. And when I was much younger, when I was doing comedy, and I was like 20, 21, I actually remember thinking, I bet you if I was in a line or came up to the front of some club with a huge line and just had 2 or 3 people who I paid $10 to, or just friends of mine, come and go, dude, oh fuck, are you, can I get your picture with you? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. After 2 or 3, 4 times that happening, everyone on the line would be like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm pretty sure you could just walk up to the bouncers and be like, hey, can I pop in here for a second? And they'd be like, oh yeah, sure, come on in, even though they wouldn't know who the fuck you were either.
Exactly.
And it's just a fascinating social experiment, which I might still experiment. But yeah, so far so good. But it's, again, interesting. Fame is an interesting topic for me because as a comic, every comedian is like fucking wants to be famous, and I always wanted to be a famous comic. But again, a lot of that came from ego, and now it's like actually just doing what I want. And helping people is more of a priority than fame. Mm-hmm. And if I want fame, it's only because I can help more people if I was more famous. Like if I suddenly became super famous, if my videos were getting 1 million views each or 10 million views each rather than whatever thousands, that's just more people who are going to be like, oh, okay, so we don't have to cheat and lie and be assholes, and we can just be real and meet more girls. And the more people are connecting with more people, sexually and otherwise, the better the planet's going to be. And I see what I'm doing really as really important work. I think I'm doing God's work because. If you imagine if everyone on the world suddenly had a partner that they're really compatible with, and they had a wonderful, loving partner, and they were getting laid, are you going to war? Seriously, you got a beautiful girl in your bed. Hey, it's time to go to war. You're going to go shoot some people. I just don't think anyone's going to show up.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not, right? And a lot of it just comes from anger and frustration and brainwashing. But if you're just if you're connecting to hey, we're all one, and sex is beautiful, and we should all be enjoying each other, this planet would change drastically. We'd be on a different planet. So I really see myself as doing something important. Even just the being able to come to girls and have sex with them, that's important. Mm-hmm. But of course, the deeper level stuff as well.
One thing I like about some degree of fame, especially internet fame, is that it can help you create more ripples in the world. You get when you become more influential, then other people notice you, and you get invited to join different groups or meet different people. So that's been kind of cool. I've gotten to meet a number of other authors and speakers in the self-help field, including some people whose books I used to read.
Right.
And it's cool meeting them in person and seeing what they're really like, and finding everybody's just normal people, really. Mm-hmm. But fame can build them up into this monolithic type of identity, but then you realize off the stage they're just a normal person,
right?
And they prefer to connect with you as a normal person. I think the weirdest part of fame for me is when I meet somebody at a speaking engagement or something like that, and they come up to me with the fanboy, fangirl type of attitude, and they're they're nervous to talk to me, and I find that so weird because it's not part of my normal life. Since most of my fame is just online, I don't usually have that happen on the street anywhere. It does occasionally happen, somebody will recognize me out in public, but it's just it's a little strange, and I realize that. When I connect with celebrities, I don't want to do that either. You just want to treat them like a normal person, and it's much easier to connect that way. It's just kind of awkward when you walk up to somebody and you treat them like you're some big fan of theirs, even if you feel that you are.
See, I feel kind of weird, but at the same time, I kind of like it, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Because in a way, it's love. In a way, their nervousness is showing that they really appreciate what you do. Mm-hmm. That's why if they thought you were a dick and what you were doing was irrelevant, they wouldn't be nervous. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So in a way, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but if they're too nervous to cuddle, then that's not so
well,
good,
for you, that's it. Yeah, they're out. You're out. But yeah, that's awesome. I think we did it really good. I think that was pretty epic.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Any thoughts in general on anything's happening in the world or anything coming up? What's in it for you this next 6 months? Or what are we almost halfway into I think we're halfway into the year, right?
Yeah.
Very much. We're halfway in the year. What's going to happen for you in the next 6 months or maybe even next year? Anything planned or just see how it goes?
Yeah, I'm mainly just wrapping up some projects. I think I went through a period in the past few years where I took on too much. Mm-hmm, so I've been trying to wrap up projects that I've already opened and let's close things.
Yeah.
I got 4 years behind on my accounting, and I finally finished that.
Yeah.
And that's everything's all up to date there now. And so it's all these projects that I opened up, an audio program I started and only got halfway through it. Now I want to spend some of the summer finishing that up and getting it released. So now I'm going through a period of just like, okay, let's be a little more disciplined and let's close some of these open loops instead of creating more. Because I have a tendency to keep saying yes to new things. Then I realized I've just taken on like 2 years of work by saying yes so much or starting so many things. I've been great at starting things, but now I want to focus on closing.
I think we're the same personality type. I've just been getting into enneagrams. Do you know about those things?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know much, but I've just been getting into them, and I'm a 7 with an 8 wing. So apparently, I'm very similar. Like, I have these great ideas, and I want to do this stuff, and I'm fucking let's change the world. And then, like, and then 6 weeks in, actually, you know what? That's a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do that. So it's just about picking, man. It's like picking and choosing and being like, do I really want to fucking do this? I do. Okay, fuck it. I'm going to commit to this project, and you have to see it through. But it's tough for people that have a lot of ideas and a lot of opportunity. It's just like, what the fuck do you get involved in? There's so much amazing stuff going on. The hell do you do? So.
Actually, just earlier today, I was working on kind of updating a vision for my professional life and for my personal life, what I want to kind of experience next in each area. And the professional side was really easy. It was really clear. I was like, okay, I want to do this, 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 and this. And it was, and keep things simple, follow sort of a disciplined approach, do certain projects in certain orders. It was all very clear. And on the personal side, I was really struggling with it a lot, especially socially, because it was not clear at all to me what I want to experience socially next. I've had so many different experiences and gone in so many different directions there, and it's like socially, I almost want to experience more chaos, but professionally, I want to experience more structure and order. So it's kind of an interesting balance. Like socially, I realized what I really need to do is, because I don't have that much clarity about what I want to experience next, I just need to explore more. I need to experience more, say yes to more things, kind of open more loops there. Because the way things are now is so structured and simple and it's kind of routine. I'm ready to have like new experiences there and kind of open new doorways and walk through them and see what I like. Just stretch myself more.
Dude, I'm totally with you. Like business wise, I love doing the work, but I really want it structured in a way where I just do the things I love doing. Everyone else does other stuff, and my life will be a fucking joy. Like there's none of this stuff, and I'm getting there. I'm really getting to that point where I'm just doing the stuff I'm good at. But that's wonderful and socially crazy. I don't know if I want to be more. I've been socially crazy. I think I think I've done a lot of that already.
For me, it's more like I just want to explore connections with more people and see what I explore different ways of connecting people. What I really like. I've been experimenting a lot there and just finding that I still feel like there's so many more possibilities for the types of connections I can enjoy and like the different ways to connect with a woman. And I've really explored a lot of that gray area between just friends and sex partners.
Wait, you pointed to me when you said just friends. What are you saying? You're saying there's no chance here? Absolutely no chance that anything's going to happen?
I'm a Kinsey 0, so absolutely no chance.
All right, that's fine. So
you know the Kinsey scale, right?
Yeah, how much you're...
0 to 6. So 0 is 100% straight, and 6 is 100% gay, and so 3 is like, pretty much bisexual.
Okay.
And then where you are on the scale is... how much?
Yeah, I think I'm like a 0.5 in that, like, I can recognize a handsome man. I'll be like, that guy's very attractive. I don't want to touch him in any sexual manner, but I'm happy to be like, yep, that guy's fucking hot. That's awesome. But I know guys who can't even admit, they're literally like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, it's fucking Johnny Depp. Look at him. He's fucking gorgeous.
Yep.
So I'm okay with that.
But I tend to like women who are, say, a 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Middle of the scale.
Sure. Yeah. Us guys, yeah.
More fun then?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I guess a final thought for the guys out there who want to go out there. And again, most people out there, they want to get a life and lifestyle where they're doing what the hell they want to. So let's give them a final word for the people who want to.
Yeah, you don't have to go randomly approaching people on the street. I don't do that. I find it a complete and utter waste of time. Go do that if you think it's going to be a growth experience for you and you're going to get some value out of it. But even if you get good at that, you might realize that you'll get better results by broadcasting more authentically who you really are and thinking, instead of trying to get somebody attracted to you, think of who would be automatically attracted to you and find that person, filter for that person, put yourself out there in such a way that that person will recognize you as what they're looking for. So, don't try to pretend to be something you're not. Don't feel like you have to go to the gym for 6 months unless you want to be that kind of person. I know people who want to go to the gym for 6 months just before they can start dating.
That's fucking retarded.
I'm like, if you want that, go date a personal trainer who will get you fit as you go along. find somebody who will have no trouble connecting with somebody who's not.
For a long time, I wanted to be able to fly around the world for free, so I was actually going to go hang around at airports and like pick up stewardesses and then make seriously start dating one of those girls seriously and then get free flights. I literally was like, I'm going to do that, and then other things happened and I never did. But that was a genuine plan.
I do that with public speaking though, because when I speak at other people's events, they pay for the flights.
Yeah.
So that's.
That's
how I get free trips to Europe.
I'm the sucker that got you to Europe one of those times. But
you did once, yeah.
Yeah. But it was worth it though.
Yeah, I've been to Europe for free, 4 times in the past few years, and I've got another invitation to go next year. So, it gets pretty easy after a while if you align your lifestyle with what you want.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And so again, I've said this. Actually, here's one thing I never thought I'd say, but I agree with you 100%. If you're really scared to talk to people and you're afraid of rejection and it's something you need to work on, then yes, go and talk to tons of women and get through that part of your life. But after that, ultimately, do you really want to be a guy who's picking up chicks on the street, or do you want to be a guy who's living a life that you enjoy, that's attracting naturally women who connect with you? And I think most guys are going to go with that. But as a man, I think you do have to face that fear and be able to walk up to a beautiful woman and talk to her. And
tackle whatever obstacle's getting in your way. For me, that wasn't the main obstacle. For me, the main obstacle was finding a woman that I really, really liked.
Right.
They seemed to be a rarity in my life until I started just being disgustingly myself to the point where I would turn off everybody else and then attract very easily the person that I was a good match for.
One girl who loves Star Trek: The Next Generation and eating vegetables.
Yep.
While cuddling you and having a dog at the same time, licking your face. Boom! I just summed you up right there.
No,
Perfect.
She licks my face.
Oh, that's right. But the dog's also there, cuddling.
Or I'm licking her.
Either way.
Whatever.
Cool. And yes, and just to all the fellows out there who should we come up with just the first step for anybody out there who's stuck in a shitty dead-end job and they hate it and they're desperately trying to get the fuck out?
Yeah, go up to your boss and say, I quit.
Yep. I always say that to people and they're just like,
It takes 1 second. I quit.
I know.
Take your stuff and leave and don't go back.
Every single person I had, they just, but I'm going to do it eventually. But I got bills to pay and all this kind of stuff. And I understand that argument if you have a family and you're literally feeding kids. Okay, maybe it's not as simple as I quit. But if you are in your 20s or 30s and you don't have a family, I say fuck you. You can't quit, and you can find a way to bum around for a while and find what you love and do what you love. Everyone's got a friend with a couch. That's what I say.
If you can't pay your bills, don't pay your bills. I had to go through that period. Got kicked out of my apartment because I couldn't pay the rent, and life goes on. And if you're really committed to finding the lifestyle you want, then it doesn't matter. So what? You get kicked out. Like you said, you'll find a couch to sleep on somewhere, and you'll keep going. And just stay true to your standards, what you're looking for. Don't say yes to some crappy partial match. That's not what you want.
Yep.
Well, that's a nice 10-minute close to the podcast.
That's fucking excellent. So, folks, if you don't already know, you can check out Steve Pavlina's blog on stevepavlina.com. If you can't spell that, then you're fucked. And yeah, people will figure it out. And you can enjoy Steve's videos in the Direct Dating Academy. And hopefully we'll have him at another live event at one point in the future. And he's a wonderful man, and I want to thank him for joining us today. It's been very fun, and hopefully we'll do another one of these one day. We'll talk about other crazy stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah, do another one.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Do one in Hawaii.
You know what's funny? I have people asking me to go to Hawaii, and I want to go to Hawaii, so I'm going to try and make that happen, actually.
All right, because I want a free flight. To Hawaii.
I bet you do. Okay. Cheers, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.